Hello and welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are watching from in the world. My name is Gogs the Captain Brown. Thank you once again here for joining me live on Formula Racing League TV. Tonight we're going to be watching the action for round 5 of the Super Sprint Sunday Championship. My apologies for last week due to a lack of internet connection. We weren't able to bring the stream to you. However, round 4 did happen at Bathurst. We'll go over that in a second. But tonight we are here at the home of British Grand Prix racing at Silverstone. The legendary track, former airfield of course. All these corners steeped in history. So let's have a quick recap what happened last time we were racing, because I'm going to be finding out myself. Chris Gedman in the chat there. Gogs with 17 O's. That is indeed the correct spelling for those who don't know. Thanks for tuning in, Chris. Glad to have you with us. As we're currently watching Morgan running through the final corner now to cross the line. And he has resumed his normal position at the top of the pile, at the head of the table. Car number 5. 157.5. So give me a couple of seconds there. I will just quickly jump on to SimGrid and we can go over the results from the last race. Just while I'm waiting for that to load there, let's have a look who have we got racing this evening. I'll go over actually what we've got coming up for this evening while we're waiting for that to load. On the top right off the screen there, you can see the race schedule. We have got a 20 minutes remaining, 5 minutes remaining of free practice, followed by a 26-minute qualifying session. Why 26 minutes? What a strange number. That is split into 2 for the silver class and the pro class. The silver class will go out first on track and have exclusive use off the tarmac for 13 minutes to set the fastest lap they can. Then the pro class will take the final 13 minutes. On the left hand side of the screen we can see there we have the drivers with the white background. So Morgan with number 5 with the white background, Mackinnon with the 7, Iliev with the 77. The white background denotes that they are in the pro tier championship, whereas we see there Dan Naisbitt in the 242, the silver background, Michael Milnick's in the 41, and Stu Rogers in the 512 in silver. Anyone with a silver background is in silver, as the name suggests. There is no priorities on the track. They are all racing for position. However, you only score points in your relevant championship. JR's Sim Racing Gedders is my hero in the chat there. Good to know. We'll look to see Chris on his next stream with his spandex trousers and underwear over the top of him, as a superhero that he is. So let's have a quick look, because I'm still waiting for this to load. It's taking quite some time. My apologies. We've got 3 minutes left. Hacker's just put in an amazing lap there. Eden comes to a stop. So yeah, for qualifying, 13 minutes for each class. Race 1 will be a 20-minute sprint shootout straight to the finish, lights to flag. Race 2 doubles the length in time. We are racing so nice, we are doing it twice. And they will go again for 40 minutes. And both races will score championship points. So let's look at the results for round 4. Let's get the map out of the way, off the screen there, as we're watching Hacker in the 101 McLaren. So here we go, round 4, race 1. Let's see what happened. I'm finding out as well for the first time. So in the pro tier, race 1 was won by, of course, Alex Morgan. No surprise there. Jay Wazzer in the Bentley owning the mountain, taking second place, and Dan Clegg on the podium. taking 3rd place in race 1 at Bathurst, and in the 2nd race, Jay Wazzer in the Bentley, the king of the mountain, takes race 2. Dan Clegg in 2nd, with Luca Lascu there taking 3rd in the podium, the final podium spot. What has that done to the championship? Let's have a look. So in the Pro Tier Championship, Alex Morgan still leads by 46 points. Juho Mäkinen in 2nd, Luke Prentice in 3rd. Clegg and Wazzer go up to 4th and 5th in the championship after their results last time out. So in the silver tier, pole position was taken by Harry Palmer, with Malnix and Kwanchinkin taking 2nd and 3rd. In qualifying, the first race, race 1, was won by the American Malnix. Dan Naisbitt taking P2, Rick Dembrave in 3rd. In the 2nd race, around the mountain last time out, Harry Palmer took the win. Paul Trotman in P2 with Samuel Grafe taking 3rd. Championship, let's see what's it done to the championship in the silver class. So the Silver Championship currently looks as follows. Dan Naisbitt still out in front, 237 points. A 47 point gap to 2nd place in Silver Championship. Dazza Townsend in the number 9 McLaren. Harry Palmer in P3, great performance from them last time out, of course, taking that win over the mountain in race 2. So we'll keep an eye on that as the season goes on. We're now in race 5 out of, I think we have 7 races this season. Valencia, then Imola next, I believe. I think that's right. Checker flags out for practice, end of practice. We've currently got Morgan out in front. Mäkinen in P2, still lapping out there, can finish this lap with Hacker taking 3rd place in the Pro Tier just now. Gareth Harvey's just crossed the line to take the fastest silver class. I don't think anyone out there just now has got in the position to dethrone that one. Rogers in the 512 is coming round Luffield now. So that's Brooklands now in Luffield. Comes round the final turn. Now this, of course, this track, this layout, he's abandoning the lap. That lap's over, so he's going to go into the pits. Paul Trotman's out there as well. He's just going down the Brooklands straight in his army coloured Lamborghini. Let's see what he can do. I think that is the top end at least decided. Mäkinen's gone P2 in the number 7 car. He's currently sitting P2 rather. Morgan and Mäkinen resuming their battle at the top. As Trotman comes across the line now, does he improve? He does not. So only got a couple of cars still left out there. Samuel Grafe is leading the Bentley. That looks like Trotman behind. That's Jay Wazzer, my apologies, got the two confused there. As Grafe gets out of the way into Cops. And that is the end of free practice.
Go, go, go.
How did that turn out? Morgan with the fastest lap time, Mäkinen taking the fastest final sector of anyone, 3/10 behind Clegg in 3rd. In silver class we had Harvey, Dan Naisbitt and Michael Malnix, 1, 2 and 3. So that's qualifying started. Dan Naisbitt has raced out of the pit garages and already onto the hangar straight now in that maroon and white Ferrari. In behind him, on at least in track position just now anyway, Michael Malnix in the 41 Ferrari. Serfontein is going to be 3rd across that start finish line as well. 2nd in championship is Townsend in the number 9 McLaren, tucked in behind there as well. We see the Pink Panther there just behind. So this is the qualifying session for round 5 Who is going to come out on top? Who's going to put themselves in the best possible position for the silver class? As we've got some slow moving cars there actually on the hangar straight. That is, it looks like Rogers and the number 33 car, that's Grafe, Samuel Grafe, moving slowly, I think just trying to adjust to a good gap. Of course, no qualifying, no overtaking allowed during qualifying in Formula Racing League events. You cannot in any way hinder an opponent's hot lap. So we'll keep an eye on that. The weather forecast is cloudy, it's overcast. It is what you'd call British, but it is not expected to rain this evening. We're not expecting any wet weather, so we'll be shocked if that comes. At least the drivers have some predictability this time around. Silverstone now in. We'll cut a little bit of a track guide actually, I think. We'll jump on board with the BMW. This is the final corner now. This is where your lap starts. Your exit out of this corner is crucial, as Silverstone in the 215 BMW is our track guide star for this evening. We're using the old layout of Silverstone into Copse Corner, of course. An infamous corner nowadays, we'll come into that a little bit later. Kisses the apex absolutely beautifully. Does not run too far wide out there. You need to be careful of the track limits. Now into the Maggots Beckett section. Very tricky. Need to balance the car over these bumpy curbs. Look for a late apex onto the hangar straight, which is this straight here under the gantry. A little bit of dust being kicked up ahead of us by the number 41 car. We're coming down now. Very tricky braking point. Not a lot of references, but he brakes just before the curb on the left. Turns it in again, patient on throttle, don't run too far wide over that curb on the left as you'll incur the wrath of the track limit stewards. Careful with the sausage curb on the entry here, and just be so patient on the throttle, keep the steering lock turned in as you come on to the Hamilton straight. This is of course the main straight for the Grand Prix racing. Now these are the corners I have forgotten the name of, but he does kiss the apex off that one very nicely, which puts him in good position for the hairpin here. A little bit of trail braking involved to get the car tipped into the apex, which Silverstone does nicely. And another one of these corners where the exit is far more important, because this is now the run down to the Brooklands complex. The Brooklands straight here under the gantry. Of course, this is where the protesters scattered the track on the F1 weekend. Brooklands grandstand on the right, Brooklands corner turns you left. Careful on the exit, don't take too much because you need to get the car turned in for Luffield. A double apex hairpin on the foot. So I put the foot down now and nothing more to do and to keep the steering wheel turned slightly to the right. As he crosses the line, Silverstone does, and he goes into P2 temporarily. And we're going to see on the left hand side now that driver tracker is going to update regularly. Palmer, after a strong performance last time out, currently sits second. That's Harvey. Harvey is nearly matched Dan Naisbitt, 3 milliseconds. You can almost get a piece of paper between those lap times. Grafe sets a time now as well. It's Naisbitt, Harvey and Palmer 1, 2 and 3 so far. Rogers sets a very respectable time now in the 512 car. Now they're just crossed the line now. We've got some cars coming across the line. Who have we got? Paul Trotman coming out of Luffield now. Where is he going to put his car? Stoyanov goes into 8th place in the 66 car. Trotman across the line. P4 for the Lamborghini driver. And that is, most people now set a lap. Don Javier in the number 2 McLaren coming down the back straight now. The Don, the Mafia boss. Round Luffield. Gets the right foot down the back end, looks absolutely planted. He's up through the gears now, just kisses the apex off that final little kink and crosses the line and sets himself on the board. Dan Naisbitt's coming round. Can he improve on his previous lap time. 6 minutes of this qualifying session is gone, and Dan Naisbitt puts a second between himself and Harvey. This is Harvey here. The helicopters picked him up as he comes down this long back straight. Of course, this will be one of the key overtaking opportunities and one of the final overtaking opportunities on the lap. He takes almost a double apex into Brooklands, and then it's Luffield here. We can see how the drivers take clip the apex on the entry, swing out a little bit, and then back onto the inside before ramming their right foot down and going up through the gears. He's coming across the start-finish line now. Can he match Naisbitt's time? He does improve, but only by a couple of milliseconds. Not enough. And Palmer's just went through as well. Stu Rogers goes and takes P2. Good showing from the FRL admin team so far, taking first and second. Chris Gedman has now joined the track after getting his spandex and underwear all laced up, his boots laced up for his heroic action this evening. Let's see what that Porsche can do. Some new rims, some lovely blue rims on that Porsche this evening as he almost tucks in to the back of that Pink Panther. Stu Rogers has been off track. Somewhere the 512 car is shown as a yellow flag. On the bottom right of your screen you can see the track map with all the numbers and the driver information there. And of course the 512 in the pits with a yellow flag being shown. So keep an eye on that. That will show you where your drivers are this evening. And of course, if you do want me to catch up with you with your favourite driver, just leave a little shout out in the chat. I will pick it up and we'll find out where your favourite driver is this evening. It looks like Townsend's moving out of the way of Chris Gedman there. Maybe Townsend not on a fast lap. Moves himself out of the way. As Gedman now powers his way down the Brooklands straight into Brooklands to corner. Now how does he take this one? Oh, he just tucks it into the inside and uses the curb to drag him round the corner. The back end of that car looks very stiffly sprung. It's bouncing like mad coming out of Luffield, but he's now got his right foot down and going up through the gears. Chris Gedman currently P7. Stays P7. Complete anticlimax there. We've got a car off track there, just in front of us. We missed that one. Dan Naisbitt's now in the pits as well. Sargent is showing, has been on track. Now he's a pro driver, or at least been shown as a pro driver. So we'll need to keep an eye on that one. It might be an administrative error. Sargent is now going into the pits. He's set a lap time though, so that's potentially damning for them rather. How is our resident American getting on? The number 41, Michael Melnix, comes through onto the start of the Hamilton straight just now. There we go, we've actually got an onboard camera. This is exactly what he'll be seeing when driving that purple Ferrari. It's so hard not to just ride the inside of that apex, the massive sausage curb. Steering inputs very smooth by Melnix. With controlled, educated hands. The Brooklands here, the Ferrari will be excellent into here. The trail braking ability of the Ferrari really comes alive in corners like Brooklands. But Melnix has got that right foot pinned to the floor now. Fantastic exit out of the final corner. What can he do as he crosses the line now? No improvement again, so no movers just yet. No movers, no shakers. Luke Richines and Dylan Volton yet to set a lap. They are in the lobby. That's the two of them sitting there, but not yet set a valid lap. Harvey comes across the line now. No improvement again for Harvey. Palmer in the Aston Martin. Not seen many Aston Martins nowadays in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It's great when you do see one on the track. The 207 car looks a little bit squirmy through that corner. Up through the gears now onto the start finish bend and across the line. No improvement again, still sits in P3. Cuters has went into 4th in the number 12 Ferrari. He's improved quite significantly, as has Gedman. This is nearly the last lap for a lot of these drivers. Of course, the timer on the top right off the screen, these guys have until 13:00 to start a lap. So only a minute and a half remaining in this session. So anyone in the pits, Trotman, Cuters, Volton and Richings will not set a lap time. Stu Rogers is about to come across the line now and start his final lap of the session, as is Don Javier. Don Javier in the McLaren coming round the final corner now. There he is. And Malnick's next, just in behind them as well. There he is, the 41 car, the purple liveried. No, he's done. He's done for this evening. Malnick's will start no higher than P5. Gedman no higher than 6th as well. So that's interesting, at least for their point of view. Data Townsend currently running in P11. Sitting 2nd in the championship. Had him done for this evening as well as he smashes into the 100-metre board. That will not be a popular racing line there. That will definitely have annoyed some of the pro drivers. You incur the wrath of them on Formula Racing League's Discord. Of course, this league managed through Discord. If you are interested in maybe taking part in these league races, all you have to do is look for Formula Racing League on www.thesimgrid.com. And from there you have all the details to join the championship as well as the Discord. Formula Racing League sim racing at its very best. The checkered flag, at least the metaphorical checkered flag, out for the silver drivers, but Samuel Grafe is still allowed to complete his lap, as is Rick Den Brave is gone now. So Grafe is still allowed to complete his lap as he started before the checkered flag came out. And another driver who is also able to complete the lap is Stu Rogers, who's coming round the final corner now. He's currently in P7. On board with him now. He crosses the line. Doesn't improve. Stu Rogers is in 7th. Last man across the line, Grafe's been off the track, so that is the end of his session. Don Javier, of course, Don Javier is still able to set a lap time. He's currently running the last of the silver drivers, but he's going to come across the line. Can he jump up? He does improve massively, 8/10 of a second, great lap, but unfortunately not enough to move up a position. So now it is the time for everyone to acknowledge Alex Morgan in the number 5 McLaren. Currently sits at the head of the championship table. He was head of the table in free practice. Let's see if he can get the rest of this field to acknowledge him. The next car behind on track is Dan Clegg, who's warming up, building a gap up, and now we're going to see a little bit of traffic here actually on the back of Brooklands. As we look back, look at them, they're all weaving to keep the temperature in their tyres. Morgan, Clegg, I think we have Wasler just behind? No, it's not. He's away further back actually. So Morgan's round, he's round Cops now. Let's have a look at this lap. Let's jump on board with the McLaren driver. We're sitting in his passenger seat. Such a challenge through the Maggott and Beckett section. But Morgan is, look at the action on that steering wheel, chopping and changing. Comes down the hanger straight now into Stowe. Again, picks his braking point, and you can see they're about a car length further down the straight before they hit the brakes. And he's ran a little bit wide. Has that invalidated his lap time? It has, so Morgan will need to try again. We're now going to jump on board with Mr. Clegg in the number 20 Lamborghini. The back end of that Lambo looks very twitchy as he comes round Stowe. Down, look, pinpoint the braking into Vale. Double apex off club here. The cones are still untouched, which shows me no one's ran wide yet. And Clegg gets so as the cone over there. I take that one back. Clegg rubs the inside off the sausage curb. Close through Abbey. Keeps it in that 5th gear. He must find it faster to go that way. Now, tricky braking point down into Village and round for the loop. Gets it turned in. No hint of understeer at all in that Lamborghini. Clegg now up through the gears on the... we call this the Brooklyn Straight. Apparently it is the Wellington Straight. I might just keep calling it Brooklyn Straight just for the fun of it. Clegg now gets very close to the inside apex of that corner there as well. We'll see if this one remains a valid lap time, but right now Dan Naisbitt still holds that pole position with a 1:58.2 and he's in the silver class. What's supposed to be the slower class, he's 3/10. Clegg is short there off that lap time. Next car to come round, at least on a valid lap, is Morgan Grace in the 14 car. He's going to jump up. I can't keep track of where everyone's going to turn up now, so we're just going to look at the left hand side of the leaderboard and see these lap times tumble. Jack Prentice, of course, his new mint baby, the Bentley, the green and pink Bentley, as he comes across the line, 2.5 down. Bentley usually runs very nicely around Silverstone as well. So next across the line is Clayton in the 500 Ferrari, usually a contender up the top. Let's see where he can go. P5 just now, just tucked in between Iliev and Water. Number 7, that's Mäkinen. Where did Mäkinen wind up? Mäkinen takes the provisional pole time. But let's see what Morgan can do on his first official hot lap. He's coming down the Wellington Brooklands Scooby-Doolands straight. Now into Brooklands curve, tips it in. And again, the McLaren looks very bumpy around this Silverstone track this evening. Not a hint of rain on the radar, so again, we don't have to worry about that. Morgan maximises the exit space available on exit there. Now comes across the line. Fingers up in the air and acknowledge him. Currently running in P1, 1:57.4. That's faster than his lap time in practice. Dan Clegg now comes through the final curve, Wilcott, and goes into P3. Morgan, Mäkinen and Clegg 1, 2 and 3 just now as it stands. Let's see, Luke Prentice in the Mercedes, the AMG Mercedes, yet to set a lap time. Can the maroon and white Mercedes get on the board? Where does he go? He goes into P18, at least provisionally. So Grayson Hacker in the pit, 6 seconds off qualifying remaining. A lot of cars actually showing us yellow flags in the pits, possibly a glitch within the game. So maybe we don't need to read too much into that one. We're currently watching Iliev in the yellow and blue Porsche. On board, there we are, on board with him for the final 6 minutes of qualifying. So easy to run over those track limits. And this will be one of the sections we'll be looking at in the race on lap 1. One of the trickier sections of the track. Everyone always panics about getting through the the first couple of corners. High speed Cops Corner, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel. One of course very tricky corners on their own right, but everyone forgets of course the run down to Stone Vale, so we'll keep an eye on that for the race as well. Currently Morgan, Mäkinen and Clegg still occupying those top slots. Iliev of course is no slouch. Very quick driver on their day, currently still pushing that right foot almost through the floor off that Porsche. Into the second to last corner now. Again, I think it's just bumpy there. Everyone looks a bit stiff coming round there, but all under control, at least for the meantime. Just in front of the Porsche, we've got Dialbrail as well. We'll see where they can pop up, or if they can pop up the times a little bit higher. Nothing yet. Iliev comes across the line and goes 5th. Good lap from Iliev, puts himself in that position just behind the Pro Podium drivers. So who's currently out there just now? We've got the 101 car not on a hot lap, but car 32, that is Jay Wazzer. Previously alluded to this man being king of the mountain. Can he do it on a overcast day in Northamptonshire? He's currently in P5 and a cup 50 milliseconds almost separates Wazzer and Iliev. Very close up front. Eden as well. We've seen a lot from Eden this season and last season. Very quick driver on their day as well. And crosses the line does not improve. Ziliotto, who's rejoined the grid, didn't see them at least the first couple of races this season. If you were racing at Bathurst, my apologies. But Ziliotto crosses the line, improves ever so slightly, upper position. So everyone coming round now with 3 minutes 30 seconds left. On track at least, we have Morgan way up front there. Then we've got the 666 car, I think that's McCann. It is. McCann's just moved past Luke Prentice. So those three are going to come through and start a lap time. There'll be 2 laps left I think we have now off qualifying. Matthias Dialbrail he's got in front actually of the 77 car of Iliev. He was in front already, sorry, my apologies. So we've got another Lamborghini, 2 Lamborghinis sort of hovering round about the 20th position overall. So Dialbrail will start his penultimate hot lap along with, I take that one back, as car 77, that's Iliev's off track at Cops and return to the pits. They won't get back out in time, they'll start no higher than 4th place. So next across the line is going to be Tom Hacker, who might get 2 more laps in. He'll be lucky if he does. He's went on to P6, good lap from Hacker. Mäkinen, 4/10 currently down. Now halves the deficit now, only 2/10 of a second separate Mäkinen and Morgan. Next across the line is the 884 car, that's Eden who doesn't improve, some invalid drivers coming through, that's Clegg through to start his last lap now as well. Ziliotto will come across the line to start his last hot lap. Improves again, another position, steadily rising up the grid order. Jack and Luke Prentice side by side currently in the qualifying standings. Harry Palmer there in chat saying good evening to yourself, thanks for joining us on the stream, great to have drivers commenting as well. Has said he had a shocker in qualifying. Don't think it was that bad, buddy. You're sitting in P3 in class. I would take that one. But Morgan comes across the line to start his final lap. Goes faster still. 666 and 43 cross the line now as well. That's Dialbrail and McCann. Car number 85. Sorry, my bad. What's happened to Dialbrail? He's been off track. He has. McCann's been through there. And car 43. That's Luke Prentice off track. He'll start no higher than, I've lost track of where he is, but he won't be improving his time any further. That looked a little bit wide from Dialbrail. Has he went wide there? He's not. He's still shown as a valid lap time. Tom Hacker's going to just get across the line as we said, and car 32, that's Jay Wazzer, going to get another lap in Mäkinen is going to just beat the flag, it looks like. 8 crosses the line with 8 seconds remaining. Can Morgan Grace get across the line? 2, 1, just cuts across the line. The checkered flag is now out, so that is Eden's final lap. He is P8. Dan Clegg's final lap. Can he improve? He doesn't improve. Clegg will start no higher than 3rd on the grid. Walsh is currently in P16. Car number 6, that's Ziliotto. Does he improve? He does indeed. Up to 21st behind this man. The lean green fat. We're just saying that George Foreman's non-grilling machine, the big heavy aircraft carrier, moves up into P15. And now I'm going to have a bit more time to pinpoint Alex Morgan's car. Yellow flags out. Dan Clegg went off at Maggots and Beckett's. Only a couple of cars left on track. So Morgan's coming across the line now. McCann's went invalid, so his lap will not count. Morgan crosses the line, improves again. 157.182. Now, all we have left now is Tom Hacker, Yoho Mäkinen, and Ziliotto's finished actually. So these two are the last two on track. Tom Hacker is currently 6th, 1.1 down. The pace at the front truly is electrifying. He comes round the second to last corner now. Mäkinen, of course, just tucked in behind on a good lap as well. Hacker's back end kicks out and he's ran wide. He's not going to improve, I think, with that error there. And he crosses the line. Does improve up into P4, so that lap did count, and Mäkinen has decided that he's not going to do it, and that is the end of qualifying for Formula Racing League's Super Sprint Sunday. Brought to you by, of course, your own drivers at Support Formula Racing League on Patreon. If you do not know what Patreon is, it is a way for Formula Racing League, for you to support Formula Racing League. Any funds that, of course, you would donate towards FRL are used for the renting of private servers to host championships such as this. We also need the funds to secure live streams and commentators, of course, such as yours truly. There's other utilities also associated with sim racing. Of course, you can contribute for no more than it would cost you for a small, overpriced Northwest US based coffee company. Coffee in the mornings. All you need to do is get yourself a cup of Instant Joe. Save yourself on the brand I'm not allowed to say on stream, and of course you can then use that money to support your very own sim racing, and in return you will get your very own Discord logo made up by FRL's in-house graphics team. They are amazing. I've actually got a couple I'm sitting on, to be honest. They're very good. They can also maybe do a little bit of video editing or photo editing for you if you ask very nicely. You can also I believe, what benefits do we have? I've had them on for so long I've actually forgotten myself what benefits I'm entitled to, so give me a little second. Yeah, so you get your own Discord logo made. You can reserve your spot, of course, on any championships FRL hosts, and your very own racing number, a common superstition, of course, for these drivers. And of course, for me, the big kicker is you will have your very own live stream shared to all of Formula Racing League's 3,000 plus members. All of those members will have access and be notified when you start a live stream. So you're investing in yourself for that £3. That's patreon.com/Formula Racing League. So, pitch is done. No need to do any more of that. Of course, Formula Racing League is managed through Discord. Having a quick look there, just give you an update. The drivers use this to communicate after sessions. So after qualifying there, we've got Dan Clegg saying that he completely heartily recommends against anyone wanting to drive the Lamborghini. The balance of power weight, so I'll explain what that is. The balance of power, or BOP for short, that's Bravo Oscar Papa. Weight added or removed from cars to even the playing field, and Dan Clegg's claiming that the weight added to the Lamborghini is not fair. Very stating it's a fundamentally bad car with the stuff applied. We've got the Derek McCann as well in the McLaren, saying that he had a second quicker when he drives the Lamborghini without the BOP. Nathan Booth saying it's terrible for him to drive in Silverstone as well. He's not the most pleased as Dan Clegg with the Lamborghini, of course. Wasn't very happy at Kyalami either. Harry Palmer jumping in the conversation, saying all the cars have their good and bad tracks, and the calendar just not suited to the Lamborghini, and I do completely sympathise with that, as it's a car I drive in another one of Formula Racing League's championships. The Taco Tuesday series as well as the Late Night Thursday series. Both races taking place on Tuesday and Thursday, as the name suggests. Again, information to join on thesimgrid.com. Have a look there, but that's the car I drive as well, and I completely concur with those comments. Let's see, what else do we have? Who else do we have in chat there? Harry Palmer saying he said he got doubted very, very heavily when he chose the Aston Martin. It's now carried into 3 wins, and he's riding high, riding a wave of euphoria in the championships currently. I think he's currently 3rd place, I may be mistaken with that one. What else have we got? A little bit of information from one of the admins, Dan Naisbitt, stating if you fire it up the inside of the loop and make contact, you will be penalised very heavily. So the loop, I believe, is just after the Hamilton Straight. Look on the bottom right there of the track map, Hamilton Straight at the bottom right of the actual track. Got a fast right, a fast left, sharp right. The loop is the sharp left after that, just at the end of the 2nd sector. So please be aware, if you smash it up the inside there into the vortex of danger, you will be penalised heavily by the stewards. So that's some good information for you guys. So let's have a quick look at the track here. We're going to be watching them now, I think, as they come through the track for the formation lap. 10 seconds till we start the formation lap for race 1. 20-minute sprint race. The timer will start once the green lights or the green flag is waved, and you will know that's happened when you hear me shouting excessively green, green, green at the start of every race, as I always do, as Morgan gets us underway now. So turn 1, so Silverstone, steeped in history, it really is. My recollection of Silverstone, as far back as I can remember, is we have Michael Schumacher winning a race from the pit lane after serving a stop-go penalty. Very controversial, that one. Johnny Herbert, of course, deciding he wanted to be famous for anything other than being a very mid Formula 1 driver, and done well around this track a couple of times as well. We do have, of course, Mark Webber saying that he wasn't too bad for a number 2 driver as he crossed the checkered flag. Dig at Christian Horner. We won't talk about Christian Horner too much, I think, this evening, just in case. We'll leave that one up to lawyers and stuff just now. Who could forget Lewis Hamilton's epic drive in the rain? I think it was back in 2008, maybe 2009, not too sure. Can't quite remember, but it was pouring with rain and he won by over 1 minute. That was a cracking drive that day. And of course, who could forget the most controversial, infamous first lap at Silverstone in recent times, 2021, when Lewis Hamilton tried to go up the inside of Max Verstappen into Copse Corner. That will be turn 1 this evening. Who knows what actually happened that day. It looked like Hamilton might have understeered into Verstappen. The reasons, don't really know. I personally think the reason for the understeer was being 45 points behind in the championship and needed to yeet Verstappen into the hospital to try and claw some of that up. it was successful on the day. It worked for him that day. Hopefully we don't see a repeat of that this evening. So, enough personal opinions out of the way. We've got Morgan out in first. For some reason Clegg's showing us second just now. He's third on track. Maybe the driver tracker just needs to update itself a little bit. So this corner here, this is the Hamilton straight. I'll be shocked if we see many overtaking moves done here into Village. Sorry, Abbey and Farm here. So this is Village coming up as we see, as they're approaching the Village corner now. This is the corner we were talking about on the FRL Discord. So not so much of this one here, but this one coming up now. So this here, if you dive up the inside here and you make contact with someone there, you are going to be heavily penalised. So we'll keep an eye on that one this evening. A little bit further behind there, Trotman, Trotman, Den Brave, Serpentine and Townsend. Townsend second in the championship, all the way down there in silver class, currently P26 overall on the track. Remember that, of course, they are all racing each other, but you'll only score points within your championship. For example, Harvey is second. Look at that there, look at that view, that's a cracking view, that one. I must commend the drivers actually this season on their liveries. It really is good to see an amazing variety of cars and colours on the grid, as Morgan now rounds us round Luffield to get the race almost underway. We await the green flag here at Silverstone, round 5 of Formula Racing League Super Sprint Sunday. Hold, 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 and pull. Green, green, green. We are green, underway for race 1. Then to turn 1, Mackinnon gets so close to the back of Morgan. No contact through Cops. Can everyone else get through? Turn 1 safely. Townsend showing us out wide, as is Gray, but he needs to be careful on rejoin. Everyone through relatively safely so far. Morgan, it's Clegg in second. Mackin is down in third. No, he's not. Driver Tracker's having a bad day. A little bit further back, we've got 4 wide, and that is Eden's off track. Eden is off track, rejoins relatively safely. Great start from Jack Prentice in the green machine. The brothers alongside each other into Stoke. The Bentley looking very twitchy. Of course, the Prentice brothers driving the 2 tanks off GT Racing. No contact, need to be very careful here. Of course, this is one of the corners I was talking about where it can all go wrong as drivers have different braking points. Gedman into the back of Eden. A light feather touch, but nothing major, nothing serious going on there. A little bit of squabbling further back with Ziliotto and McCann. It looked like as Townsend goes up the inside of Ziliotto, but again, everyone looks to have got through. And there's a huge contact. That was a purple car, Curtis Milnick's. The 41 of Milnick's was sideways going through Village. We're 4 abreast. This is the corner we're talking about, as these 5 drivers all fight for the same area off track. Palmer down the inside in the Aston Martin. Great move from the Aston driver, but that is all gone wrong at the back there as well. Milnick's car number 6, that's Ziliotto, been involved in the war. Stoyanov with a heavily damaged car. Grafe, Don Javier at the back. Everyone else seems to be okay. Dylan Volton still running. Oh my goodness, it all kicked off there. We just missed it. We've seen a sideways car at some point. Car 79 is shown as yellow flags. That's Gedman. And up ahead as well, we've got a Ferrari facing the wrong way at Luffield. Slow moving car, that's car number 12. Did anyone jump into the pits? No, we've all continued. Car number 6, that's Ziliotto, is heading for some early repairs. But up front, still sitting at the head of the table, is Alex Morgan with Juho Mäkinen in P2 and Dan Clegg in third, Iliev fourth, Dan Naisbitt cracking start, currently running P5. We are surprised if he's still in silver next season. Hacker sixth, Clayton seventh, and the king of the mountain under intense pressure by Harvey, who's looking to close the gap down to Naisbitt. Do everything he can. It's a very late braking by Grace. The Ferrari, of course, so good under braking. Prentice, great start by Jack Prentice. Walsh in 12th in the Audi. McCann is very sideways looking. Harry Palmer coming onto the Hamilton straight, and he's got Luke Prentice. Is it enough for that to cause any issues? Sargent, I think, just ahead of Townsend, just moved in front. Townsend's done well to stay out of trouble, actually. He's currently running in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place, so a good start actually from the Welshman in the Pink Panther. And I take some time now to just compose myself as Naisbitt is moved up onto the back of the Porsche of Iliev. Ziliotto still in the pit lane. Must have been a very heavy crash. Yellow flags out again. Car 85. That's Matthias Daibriel. He's been off track. We missed what happened, but Daibriel's been off track just at the end of the Brooklands and Luffield there. So he's not had the best start to round 5. There's Eden there. Look at the damage on that car. That Ferrari is going to be a handful to drive. That looks like a very heavily damaged Luke Prentice making a move on Rogers. Look at the front of that. Oh, it's so close contact. That's Trotman into the back of Rogers. And Eden paying the price for that, as well as Sargent goes past him now as well. Oh my goodness, what a start we've had. Townsend goes defensive, feels the need to defend. At the end of the hangar straight there, he's on the back of Eden, but Luke Richings all over the back of him. And just behind as well, that's Serpentine and Dembrave. Contact between Serpentine and Dembrave into, again, that corner we highlighted at the start of the race there, into Vale. Up front, we still have Morgan, then Mackinnon, Clegg, Iliev just behind, Hacker, Clayton, Wazzer, Harvey, Grace, Prentice. Then let's look here, we have Walsh and McCann running side by side. Now this is interesting, this section here, we've got Rogers. It looks like he might be carrying maybe a little bit of damage. Look at how racy Trotman looks in that Lamborghini. Of course, Lamborghini not being shown a lot of love on Formula Racing League's Discord this evening. But both Clegg and Trotman doing what they can to do it proud. McCann, of course, as well, just a little bit ahead of this battle in P13. Prentice is definitely struggling with that bonnet, the front downforce, really unsettling the car as they get dust being kicked up. That looked like Sargent was all over the curb there. He's kept it under control somehow. Eden just dancing over the curbs on the inside of Chapel. Dust being kicked up at the back there. That looks like Dylan Volten in the 160 car areas there. And that's potentially more defending by Prentice. And Sargent's almost pushing Eden along the track there. Townsend tries to go defensive. That looked a little bit suspicious under braking, but keeps the position. No contact just now. And look, somebody off there, that's Jack Prentice, who's went very wide. Prentice keeps himself ahead of Walsh. Prentice almost flying into the wall there. Grace has got himself in front of Harvey. Look at these four, two more joined at the back of this battle. Look at the train now developing behind. Well, let's be honest, that Mercedes sometimes looks like it's as big as a train, but Eden tries to throw it down the inside, but look how late on the brakes Sargent hangs it round the outside of Brooklands. He's going to be on the inside for Luffield. Thinks better of it as they both try, or all of them try to maximise their exit speed onto the main start-finish straight. Whatever's happening with Prentice has allowed Rogers and Trotman to dance away, to trot away here at the front. I do apologise for the terrible use of that pun. We will keep an eye on what's going on up ahead, of course, but look again, that BMW goes very wide. Sargent's now got Townsend alongside the racing side by side into Chapel. I'm holding my breath here because I don't know what's going to happen. As Townsend swings across, nearly makes contact with Richings. Richings has to dart out of the way. Richings is on the racing line, Townsend on the inside now into Stowe. Keeps the position, but these two are now side by side. Eden has got past Luke Prentice, and that, I'm afraid, might start almost a waterfall of cars cascading past Prentice. And he's all over the track. He really is struggling for grip out there. The BMW of Sargent looks racy, and there's contact. Sargent hits the rear off that already smashed to pieces car. Sargent's now in trouble as Townsend, Richings go past. And there's contact. We talked about it. Serpentine into the back, and there's more contact. Dylan Volton, Matthias Daibrio and Rick Dembrave all coming together on the exit off the corner we were all scared about. We'll need to, that will probably very likely be flagged to the stewards, as they now need to sort that one out. Mulnix is sideways. Mulnix facing the wrong way as well. We don't know what happened there. We just missed what I think's happened. He goes to rejoin now. Let's be careful with his rejoin there actually. My apologies everyone, I do apologise. I've got some action going on outside my window. It looks very tasty. You can't see what's happening, but let's just say there's a van with some uniforms. I'll come back to that one I'm sure later on. I am trying to do my best to focus on what's going on in front of me here in this race. Morgan's out in front with the fastest lap of the race. Mackinnon's just holding station 2 seconds behind, and Clegg a further 3. 1, 2 and 3 in the race, 1, 2 and 3 in the championship. Iliev's doing well, holding on in 4th. Cracking performance by the silver driver of Dan Naisbitt in P5 in the 242. Ferrari, let's not hide the fact that Dan Naisbitt is using the old Ferrari, the 488. An impressive performance from him. Josh Clayton is running well in the 500. On the back of Jay Wazzer. Tom Hacker currently 8th, Grace 9th, Harvey 10th. We have 8 minutes of racing in race 1 to go. Prentice in 11th, Walsh 12th, McCann in P13. Palmer doing well, 3rd in class with Rogers, and Trotman nearly sneaking down the inside of Luffield. Eden driving a very heavily damaged car. And we've got somebody off there, that's Townsend. Townsend went sideways, lost the back end, it looked like, into Luffield. Didn't quite catch exactly what happened. He's still in that train though, in the Prentice train. Prentice with a massive, look at that, that's going to be causing massive drag down the straights for Prentice. Richings is pushing so hard behind, only a couple of tenths in it. Look at the train there, big train of cars all be battling to the very end. Clegg has dropped off the battle at the front. That looked a little bit like a battle going on at the back there. That's Gedman down the inside of Cuters. Great move by Christopher in his special outfit this evening. So Richards in amongst the pro tier here, really holding his own. Another good performance. And we see, oh, look at the car moving side to side, and he's just holding up Richings, who's under pressure now from the four behind, and there's almost contact again. Sargent, of course, driving a car is not really similar to those around him, you know, different strengths and weaknesses, but now it's Sargent, and then Brave tries to drive round the outside. Now he's made that move off the track, came back on as a side-by-side crash. That's an unsafe rejoin if I've ever seen one. And Gedman now on the back of Dylan Volten. Great action throughout the midfield here this evening. Close action, of course, is what you get in the FRL. Luke Prentice looks like he's falling a little bit further down the order. Rogers has got himself in front of Trotman now. Action going on up here at the front end, at the sharp end. Four-wheel drift by the king of the mountain, Jay Wazer. But that's not the fastest way round there, unfortunately. Clayton pulls out. Thinks about the move, doesn't do anything this time around. He's on the back off the big old Bentley. I'm sensing a move coming very shortly. Josh Clayton doing everything he can to try and get past the absolute monumental Titanic sized vehicle in front of him. He needs to be careful, he can't just throw caution to the wind, because Tom Hacker, we've seen, is no slouch this season. We've got a car in the pit lane, that's Dylan Volten, the 160, maybe been involved in an incident in that midfield battle and returned to the pits. I think that might be them for this evening. So Luke Prentice still somehow dragging that car along. Dybrale's got himself in front, and it's now Richings who's maybe holding the pack up a little bit as Rick then Brave thinks about a move down the inside, and we're almost three abreast through that section. Every single time we come to it, Chris Gedman having a lot of fun this evening, getting himself involved in the action. Serpentine is driving almost a crumpled bonnet, a crumpled car, and Molnix's legs must feel a little bit like the crumple zone of the car this evening with the damage on the front of that Ferrari. So look at these, they're side by side, going 2 by 2. It's like Noah's Ark as Dybrale swings round the outside into Maggots and Beckett and keeps. So he takes the position of Richings. He's now free. So he takes the position of Prentice. He's now free to chase down Harry Palmer ahead, but I fear it might be too late. He moves over to break the toe, but the rest of the drivers behind still think about it. Sargent is on the back now of Townsend, tucks in, doesn't think about it this time, tries to hang it round the outside actually off the McLaren driver. And this is where it could get very tasty. This is one of the key overtaking opportunities, but Townsend on the attack onto Rick Den Brave, and there's a huge contact on the back. Sargent smashed into the back of Townsend there. He's now facing the wrong way. He needs to be careful on his rejoin. Spins it round and he's going to be careful indeed. So at least he's rejoined okay, but Townsend now feeling the effects of that. The rear downforce must be completely gone. And speaking of completely gone, Cuter's off track. Needs to be again careful on the rejoin. He's going to rejoin, the back end's gone. Townsend has lost the back. He's facing the wrong way. Yellow flags down at that corner. Nobody can overtake down into there. Self-on-time defending hard now as well from Milnix. It's all gone pear-shaped. It's all gone Pete-tong into the final moments of this race in the midfield. Amazing action and a great race to watch. With the damage to Luke Prentice, my apologies, but you have really brought the race to light. And again, yellow flags shown for Townsend. That car must be almost undrivable at this point. Needs to just keep his head in, get across the line and take the championship points, because he is running high in the championship just now. We've got just over 1 minute left. Jay Wazzer is still drifting round a lot of these high speed corners. Look at the back end there into Copse Corner. He's somehow got that under control. That Bentley dancing. Twinkle toes around there, I think is the football analogy. The big old Bentley. Josh Clayton in the nimble Ferrari behind him. The raw pace off the McLaren of Tom Hacker. 6th, 7th and 8th. We've got 30 seconds left, and this might come as bad news to a lot of the drivers out there, because Morgan's just crossed the line, so we're going to have the end of this lap and one more rotation off this Northamptonshire circuit. So that might cause some issues for some of the fuel calculations for some of these guys. They do calculate their fuel down to the litre, to the lap, to be honest. So hopefully they're all able to finish the race, as Clayton's still pushing so hard round Copse Corner there. That's the Hamilton line, that one. Probably stick with this one because it looks like Clayton's edging closer and closer to the back of that Bentley. Look at the size of it. With the straight line speed, the massive engine needed to propel the tank of a Bentley. I think it's going to keep him ahead, at least in the meantime. So Trotman, Eden is flying actually. He has caught the back of Trotman. That's a cracking job. Rogers as well under pressure from Trotman on the back straight here, on the hanger straight. And they're side by side into the corner. That looked like contact. Stu Rogers and Paul Trotman making contact. That one again will end up very likely at the steward's room, as they made contact round Stowe, but the real beneficiary of that is Eden, who is absolutely flying. Now he's making these moves, but they're not going to count for anything, because the next pro driver is McCann, who's some 13 seconds down the road. But it has been another Max Verstappen impression by Alex Morgan, who takes the lead, takes the win, fastest lap and pole position. He takes the win for race 1. Mackinnon comes home in P2, 5 seconds behind Dan Clegg, 4.6 behind him. Iliev finishes 4th, and it's a win for Dan Naisbitt in the silver class. King of the Mountain comes home in 6th, of Josh Clayton 7th, Hacker 8th, Grace in 9th, Harvey's in 10th, Prentice 11th, Walsh comes home in P12, McCann 13th. Rogers is still ahead of Eden and going to keep the position, it looks like, at least just now. Eden and Trotman's coming across the line, and then behind him is going to be might not be Palmer. Palmer's facing the wrong way. And he's lost the position as a lap car. It's car 85, it's Matthias Dybrio who's coming around and takes Palmer on the very last corner, but it's behind him. Prentice, then Brave, Richings all over the shot. We're going to let the driver tracker work this one out because I've lost track of what's happening. It's Prentice, Richings, then Brave, Gedman, Cuters, and the car's facing the wrong way there on the exit. That's not pretty. Malnix fights back to 24th. A little love tap to Gedman there. Serpentine 25th. Stoyanov 26th. Sargent ends up 27th. Grafe still fighting out there. He's just lost a position. Grafe is fighting with Don Javier. Grave's losing the rear end. Is that going to mean a position for Townsend? We look ahead, yes it is. But on board of Townsend, and he crosses the line, takes Grafe at the very end, and Grafe crosses the line now as well. Whew. What a cracking end to race 1 and my first race back in the comms box. We will be back for race 2 in about 5 minutes time. Do not go anywhere. I'm going to take a quick comfort break and we'll see you back in a couple of minutes. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys and gals, and non-binary pals. Thank you very much for staying with us this evening. We've had a cracking race there at race 1. We have got another 40-minute race coming up for you, and if it's as half as exciting as the last one, we are going to be in for an absolute treat this evening. Morgan took the win. Let's go over actually the whole order of exactly the of the race there. So starting with silver, it's a win for Dan Naisbitt in the 242 with G. Harvey finishing second, and Rogers battling hard with Trotman there to take P3. That one of course I think will be coming back to review. Trotman 4th, Palmer in P5, good performance from them. Luke Richings involved in the mass chaos there in the middle of the pack, 6th. Rick Den Brave 7th, good battle through the field for Mr. Gedman in 8th. Cuters in P9, Molnix recovering well to take a 10th place there. Serfontein in P11, Stoyanov 12th. Townsend unfortunate in the dying embers of that race in P13. P11. Am I on the right race? No, race 1, there we go. P13. Grafe in 14th. We've seen him sideways coming out of the Woodcote there. The very final kink in the straight. Very unfortunate. Don Javier there formed taking a late pit stop, finishes a lap down, and Volten finishes 2 laps down in P16. All finishers, of course, will be scored points. So the overall classifications for race 1, Alex Morgan, Juho Mäkinen and Dan Clegg occupying all the top spots off the podium, as they do in the championship as well. Iliev is in 4th, Dan Naisbitt 5th on track, of course 1st in class. Jay Wazzer managed to come across the line 6th on track, Clayton 7th, Hacker 8th, Grace 9th, Harvey 10th, Prentice 11th, Walsh 12th, McCann 13th, Rogers 14th on track. Eden, great drive through the field there after the incident at the start. Trotman P16, Dybrail in 17th, Palmer 18th in the Aston Martin. Luke Prentice in P19 with a heavily damaged front end. Luke Richings 20th, Rick Dembrave, Chris Gedman, Cuters, Mulnix, Serpentine, Stoyanov, Sargent, Townsend, Grafe, Ziliotto finished a lap down with Don Javier Volten as well, 2 laps down. So that is the provisional classification of race 1. Again, if you do want me to just check in with your favourite driver this evening, do leave a comment on the chat and I'll do my best to update you as quickly as I can. It is of course impossible to catch all the action, so if you do want me to have a little look at your race as well, if you are driving, or if any particular driver takes your fancy there, or any particular livery, for example, you find striking, we will check in with them a couple of times this race. Just leave a couple of comments in the chat and we will do so. 30 seconds before Morgan gets the formation lap underway, I'm going to have a quick look at the Discord, let you know what some of the drivers are talking to each other about. There's a lot of controversy going on there as well. Luke Prentice, I gave myself 30 seconds of front end damage on the formation lap. Luke Prentice trying to emulate a Max Verstappen back in Hungary a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, missing the talent part of that plan. So that explains why he was heavily damaged. Who else do we have? Any other interesting comments? Jack Prentice, sorry about the donuts. That's probably in reference to the contact at the end of the race. None of it looking like it was intentional. But everyone looks to be in good spirits and good sportsmanship, and that's what you want to see when you're racing, whether it be in real life or sim racing. Good sportsmanship and non-toxic behaviour. A little bit of a slow start there, it looks like, by Jay Wazzer, just letting the field spread a little bit. Eden's in the pits. Eden has not taken the start. Very interesting indeed. So Luke Prentice will try and keep it out of the wall, I think, on the formation lap this time around. Cuters again, another driver will be looking for a cleaner start will be Mulnix. Mulnix involved in a massive accident, it looked like, as the race got underway. So hopefully they'll be looking to do a little bit better than last time. Just a quick reminder on what is coming up on Formula Racing League as these drivers navigate the formation lap and try not to do a Luke Prentice. Yes, I have verbed you. Crashing on the formation lap is now called doing a Luke Prentice. So congratulations, Luke. Coming up in Formula Racing League this Tuesday will be the Tackle Tuesday series. If you're interested in taking part in that, again, have a look on thesimgrid.com and search for Formula Racing League. All the details how to join the championship are there. All you need is a copy of Assetto Corsa Competizione and a PlayStation 5. There are of course events on the PC if that's your tipple as well, if that's your kind of thing. Like same process, simgrid.com, Formula Racing League, all the details and their championships available there. Another option you have if you want to take part is after the kids have gone to bed is Formula Racing League's late night Thursday series with qualifying starting at 9:45 PM every Thursday night. And the benefit of taking part in this championship is you'll get some practice for the Super Sprint Sunday and Tackle Tuesday races that will be happening immediately after it. So that will be this. So Taco Tuesday this week will be at Silverstone. Late night Thursday will be at Valencia, as that is the next track we are going to on the FRL calendar. We head to the circuit Ricardo Tormo. That is the track they use for Formula E and MotoGP, more famous in those circles, but has done some GT racing as well. So Valencia next week, one of the newer tracks to this game as well, so maybe a little bit of an experience, as again we see the fantastic views of the drivers there. Look at the field. Very impressed, actually. I'm really impressed with the variation of cars. Last season was just McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, Lambo, Ferrari, McLaren, 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 McLaren. So I'm glad to see we've got a bit of variation on the grid this season. McLaren, of course, looking still very powerful. The Porsche of Mäkinen looking very interesting and racy up front as well. Dan Clegg doing his best to drive what he calls the dog of a Lamborghini. It's a bull. Tom Hacker is currently 4th and Iliev 5th. Dan Naisbitt first in class alongside there in row 3, but we await the green flag. We'll be waiting quite some time again as we hold, and we are green. It's a flying start for the Flying Finn. He takes first place into Copse Corner, and that has opened the race right up a little bit further back. Everyone seems to have got through Copse reasonably well. No massive accidents, at least not in the first couple of corners. Mäkinen out in front. He'll be absolutely flying and be looking for that one. Iliev is running, that looks like 4th place, so Naisbitt's fell down the order there, so keep an eye on that one. Everyone seems to have got through relatively well. As the driver tracker now updates itself and we can try and catch what has happened. Morgan already looking very racy, but he's backing up. Morgan into Clegg. And that might be the smart option here, might be the smart play. Now we need to watch what's going on here. Very tricky to get this section as well. Not as good a start. I really like that livery off Townsend, so easy to pick out of a crowd. Mäkinen's out in front of this front three, I think, are going to give us the action this evening, because the best thing for the neutrals, at least anyway, has happened as Mäkinen's managed to jump Morgan at the start. Let's see what we can do. Stu Rogers, yellow flag out for Stu. There's been a huge crash at the exit. Massive crash. That one will need to be looked at a little bit further. We've got side-by-side action here. That's Luke Prentice and McCann. McCann tries to throw down the inside. Huge action, side-by-side action with the Audi there as well. Harvey has got in front of Dan Naisbitt. Keep an eye on that one as well, but Mäkinen's pulled out a 6/10 of a second gap to Morgan up front. Iliev's currently running 4th, Hacker in 5th, King of the Mountain in 6th, Clayton 7th, Grace in 8th, Harvey is looking just in front of Dan Naisbitt. So for the neutrals in the championship, the best thing that could happen has happened. The leaders have been overtaken into turn 1. Interesting to see what maybe happened, I think, a little bit further back, but it's opened this 40-minute race round the home of British racing. 3 abreast now on the Hangers straight. That's Palmer. I think Palmer anyway, but he's 3 abreast, and Sargent in that battle as well. Palmer's ahead of Sargent leads Volten. And just behind that as well, Townsend looks like he's having to defend a little bit from Rick Den Brave. So up front, up the top end, up the sharp end of the grid, this is the battle for the lead. We have got Morgan, as Mäkinen doesn't quite find the apex, coming round the loop. Almost an eerie silence, and I'm just waiting for something to happen. I daren't look away from this 3, but we've got action all through the field, of course. We need to remember that one. That looked like Naisbitt maybe carrying some damage. McCann defending from Jack Prentice. Gedman's had a great start as well, currently running in P4 behind Cuters. He's got Trotman, Mulnix, and Ziliotto being overtaken by Harry Palmer on the start-finish straight as well. I'm finding it difficult to really fill the time. There's so much action going on. I'm not 100% sure where is the best place to watch, but right now we're going to watch Mr. Gedman on the back of Cuters. We've seen these two almost coming together earlier on in race 1. That looked like Mulnix there, getting in on the action up the inside. Tipped it up the inside of Trotman, and the move done, but he's got to still defend it into the 90-degree left that the Ferrari's again so good on those brakes. Morgan's currently held the fastest lap. Here they are again. Take 3. So I just can't seem to look away from this battle. Morgan, of course, will not get a clean sweep off all the races this season, as Wazzer won at last time out. But this is a more stereotypical track. This is not the mountain where anything can happen. Of course, anything can happen here at FRL. It usually does happen, and I'm usually the one to bring it to you. But this is what you'd call a more stereotypical racing track. We can expect to see a bit more racing. It's still only half a second between each of these front 3. Dan Clegg, of course, struggling, just beginning to fall off. We see the gap a little bit more, but is he just holding station, or is that the limit? As we see Morgan dancing over the grass, kicking the dust up. Is it going to work out though, as we see them onto this hanger straight now? The Porsche isn't the fastest car in the straight line, but you don't hit your top speed through there. As a 4-wheel drift for the Lambo. Got yellow flags off at the back. That's Dylan Volton pointing the wrong way in Maggots. So he's now down at the back of the grid. That impacted his race for sure. But Dan Naisbitt's now got 2 cars between him. That's Grace. So Harvey's taking Grace actually. My apologies for that one. No disrespect to Harvey. Harvey's managed to get past Grace. They've put himself a car in between himself and Dan Naisbitt up at the front in Pro Tier. Mäkinen is still in front, but the gap's now only 4/10 of a second. This is the on-board from Morgan. He ducks out to the left, just lets Mäkinen know he's still there. You cannot shake him just yet. A little bit further back here, we've got Grafe with a lot of damage. Look at that Audi, that is... looks like an absolute dog to drive. Again, Dylan Volton, who we've seen facing the wrong way. Stoyanov, Eden. Eden's down there again. Because Eden didn't qualify, I don't think. Cuter's now under pressure, I think, from Gedman. Again, nothing doing, at least not yet. Dust kicked up at the front. Different lines through those chicanes. And nothing quite doing this time for the Scotsman. He'll need to wait at least a couple of more corners. Maybe he's got the interest here. He thinks about it down the inside. Sticks his nose up the inside. Can he get it slowed down in time? He keeps it within the white lines, and that's a completed move from Chris Gedman. On camera as well. Action up at the front still. Look back away from the big rear wing off the Porsche, and that is what slows it down in the straight lines. However, the traction difference out of the corners. Really does mean a lot for Mackinnon. He sat behind Grace for almost the entire season. Clegg's dropped off this lot now. 3.5 seconds. So either Clegg's made a mistake, his tyres can't handle it, or the pace of these two at the front is just electric. You might not like it as a neutral, but there's one thing you have to do, is you have to respect it and you have to acknowledge the pace. As Mackinnon does not show the curbs the proper amount of respect, he needs to be careful now, because that's going to impact his speed all the way down this straight. But it looks like actually he's built himself a small gap to Morgan. This is now a little bit further back. We've got these three cars here. This is the battle for first in class for silver, with a Grace number 14 car thrown in the middle for good fun. We've got a slow moving car. That's car number 12. That's Cuters. Cuters been in the wall. That's Eden and Richings, I think, went past. So Cuters now down in P25 with Stoyanov on his tail. Quick look again up front, and the gap's now down to 0.3 of a second, and look at the run Morgan's got out of the corner. Morgan just edging closer and closer every time, and the pressure that Mackinnon must be feeling. He's now taken the fastest lap. We don't know how long that will last. Eliev's now on the back of Dan Clegg. Only you can see on the same picture there. Very close actually between 3rd and 7th. Very close gaps between those guys as well. And this is the midfield, the treacherous midfield that we spoke about. Chris Gedman is up to P3 in class. Cracking drive from Chris Gedman, of course powered by... Nope, can't use brands, unfortunately. Not go with that one. Great drive from Gedman, currently up into P3. Townsend's in the ward. He's got... Who's that alongside? That's Dybrio, I think. It's not Sargent anyway. That's maybe a lapped car. Self-run thing. That is Dybrio. Dybrio in front, unlapping himself. And Rick Den Brave applying the pressure. Don Javi is off. Car 884 is also off track. Yellow flags being shown. That is Eden off track again, unfortunately. So Dybrio is unlapped himself, but he'll be getting shown the blue flags. Still no action going on up at the top there. They're still in the same positions. It's so tense. Dybrio was shown the blue flags. He does have the opportunity to pull away, but he cannot hinder Townsend's race. But it looks like he's just beginning to pull out a small gap now. Maybe he is running a little bit faster than the Welshman at this point in the race. Luke Prentice on the back of Milnix. Milnix now catching Gedman at a vast rate of knots. Only a second separate those two. So that one will be for position. This is Harvey currently running first in class with Grace in the 14 Ferrari just tucked in behind. Interesting to note that Dan Naisbitt has fallen further behind now. He is now 3.9 off the back of Grace, and you have to wonder, does he have a problem? Potentially wrong tyres on the car. There's a lot of bouncing in that Ferrari, so need to maybe keep a small eye on that one as the leaders are now coming to lap some cars. They've got the number 2 of Don Javier, who is off track. Flashing lights already from the Porsche. Is he going to move out of the way cleanly? He does move off the racing line. He lets both the leaders past. So next up the road to lap is Stu Rogers in the 512. We'll see if maybe Stu impacts on this race as well. Seen the Bentley there just bounce over the curb on exit. One of the things the Bentley can do is ride the curb. Sometimes I do think the Bentley has been designed to run over curbs rather than on a track. It's that good over the curb. But McCann is now applying the pressure, but he can't just go gung-ho. He can't throw caution to the wind as he has the 174 Audi of Walsh just tucked in behind, ready to pounce. Of course, all three of these cars, I must admit, I am a fan of all three of those cars. I have driven in the game as well. All three cars, very different animals to tame indeed. Prentice will have the straight line speed and stability over the curbs. McCann will have been able to fuel the car a lot lighter. The Lamborghini very efficient on fuel usage, and the Audi an absolute monster in a straight line, but a diva over the curbs. A little bit temperamental, a little bit like Balotelli, Mario Balotelli, if you remember him. So keep an eye on that battle there. Gedman has dropped Malnix a little bit there. Malnix has fallen back a couple of seconds. We see them there. The Lamborghini's ran wide. That's opened the door for the Audi. Maybe thinks about it down the inside. Nothing doing, at least not this time. But he's put himself out of position as the Lamborghini onto the Hamilton straight. Now I said at the top of the programme, this is not normally an overtaking zone, but the straight line speed of the Audi nearly makes it so. But again, nothing doing, at least not on this time. So what are we watching here? This is Harvey and Grace. Grace looks desperate to get down the road and attack Clayton. But remember, of course, just because there's no indication of that in the game, I'm about 90% sure Harvey and Clayton are part of the same sim racing team. And you have to maybe think there might be some team orders at play here. Morgan's all over the back of Mackinnon now, only 3/10, isn't it? That looks less than 3/10 of a second to me. As the back end of that Porsche steps out, this could be the move here. This is it. We're on board with the McLaren off Morgan down the hangar straight. But it looked like the Porsche was struggling, but he's just pulled away in a straight line. The straight line speed of the Porsche this evening looks very impressive actually, but again, on throttle, mid-corner, does Mackinnon feel the need to go defensive? He doesn't. He doesn't feel the need to go defensive, but again, Morgan's just right on that apex every single time, not giving up 1 inch of track. And the pace of these two is so quick. Dan Clegg, who's third in the championship, no slouch himself. Currently 5.8, but look at these mid-corner speed through the quick corners for that McLaren. The downforce efficiency of the British-made car at the British home of British Grand Prix Racing. And they're very slow, they almost touch, they almost kiss coming through there, but no contact. And this here, this could be the move. This could be Morgan. We're halfway through the race now. Has Morgan's patience reached its limit? He thinks about a move down the inside. Not a hint of hesitation from Mäkinen. He did not feel the need to defend fresh air. Mäkinen's on the inside, but Morgan's going to get a good exit out of Luffield, and maybe, just maybe, he won't hopefully not think about the Hamilton line into Copse. I do think he's a little bit far off because the traction off that Porsche really has made a difference on this lap. Behind, Clegg is still holding on to third. A little bit further down the field, Harvey is now let Grace pass. He's got a 3-second gap to Dan Naisbitt. Naisbitt crosses the line now. It's still a 3-second gap, but for the battle for first in silver class. This is the battle for first in pro, and we're on board again with the chasing driver, the championship leader, Morgan, in the number 5. Not hitting the apex on this occasion, and dropped off a tiny little bit. I am adamant he will be back for another bite at the cherry. What do we see? Clayton is slowly beginning to move on to the back of Jay Wazzer now. These guys, of course, remember, only about 10 seconds behind the battle for first, so any contact, these guys are in with a chance. Still 3.2 between Harvey and Naisbitt. You can see the gap on the left hand side there, the battle for first in class. McCann all over the back of Prentice, but Walsh a second behind. Gedman's still moving away, actually. Gedman's moving away from Milnick. He's now on the back of Walsh, joining the battle in front. Just a little bit under pressure there. Oh, Gedman, careful. Bouncing over the grass. His tyres will be dirty as well. Needs to make sure he does not lock a brake. We've got the lapped cars on Javier getting out of the way there. Very, very professionally indeed. Ziliotto is Rick Brave on the back of Townsend. Through the loop. We've not seen any kamikaze moves down through there this evening. That's a good thing. But Townsend looks like the under pressure, I think, coming down into Brooklands. Then Brave getting the slipstream. That is, of course, as we keep saying, the effect of the car in front punching a hole in the air in front, meaning less air resistance for yourself. Allows you to close the gap to the car in front on the straights. So we're now over half distance as we see Rick Brave with a lovely little Tokyo drift round for turn 1. Clegg is now under pressure for that final podium position from Iliev. This is where it gets now interesting. We can see Mäkinen, he's pushing that Porsche to its absolute limits. It's now just maybe creeping over the limit. He's making some small, maybe they're errors, maybe he's intending to do it, but he's kicking up the dust. Yellow flags out for Ziliotto down at the bottom of the track there. He's going to be losing a couple of positions. We've got Stu Rogers here. Is he moving out of the way? Is he going to move? He lifts off, he lifts through the leader and lifts through Morgan on the same bit of track. So that is now a clear track for the leaders to fight for the final 16 minutes of this race. Dylan Volton shown as off track again, needs to be careful on the rejoin, but he's going straight over there. Maybe a cooler head would prevail. Richings is got a car for company. That is that's Dybriel. He's coming back through the track after an early pit stop for damage. So he's still coming through the track. Richings. Let's have a rundown. We've not had a rundown of the order. We're nearly 2/3 of the way through and there's been so much going on. So Mackinnon jumped Morgan at the start and has led the race since. So Mackinnon currently in P1 with the fastest lap. Morgan bearing down on him currently in P2. Dan Clegg just not been able to keep up with the raw pace of the two guys in front in P3 and been very vocal about his Lamborghini this evening. Tom Hacker running very well in P4, got ahead of Ilya very recently actually, that one's happened. Jay Wasler, the king of the mountain, and he will continue to have that name. He's got many names here in FRL, but we're going to go with king of the mountain this evening. Josh Clayton is currently running in P7, driving very, very well. Grace as well was held up behind the two cars who we're about to see in a second for quite some time. Harvey currently leading first in silver class, but he's got Dan Naisbitt, the championship leader, bearing down on his backside as well. 2.3 seconds is the gap there. Prentice is in P11, that's Jack Prentice in his mint green mint green Bentley. McCann in 12th, and we've got Walsh with German all over the back of them. Cracking race from German, currently running 3rd in class, one of his best for a while. Luke Prentice in P15. The AMG Mercedes not liking Silverstone. Michael Milnick's running cleanly at least, 4th in class this time out. Been involved in a lot of incidents recently this season, but running well just now. Paul Trotman in 17th, Sargent 18th on track, Townsend running P19, Rickton Brave all hot on his heels, rounds off the top 20. Luke Richings 21st, Ziliotto 22nd, off track a little bit there, carrying some damage it looks like, as is Stoyanov. The back of Stoyanov looks to be in quite a mess. Dylan Volta we've seen facing the wrong way earlier on, running 24th. Palmer recovering, currently 25th. Rogers 26th, Cuters 27th. Those two are actually very close on track. Looked like maybe Palmer struggling a little bit out there. Should keep a quick eye on those guys, see if anything happening with that mistake. Cuters in P27, Dybriel coming through the field 28th, Grafe 29th, Don Javier 30th, Serpentine in the pits and running last. Maybe that is the end of his race for this evening. So we still have 30 drivers running. As that is Rogers going past Palmer. Palmer allowing Rogers past. Is it for position? I thought that was for position, so interesting that he felt the need to do that. So where is the action? We've got McCann. McCann is pressuring the back of the Bentley. Come on board with the Lamborghini. It looks like it takes about 7 attempts to get that turned in. Car 66 is showing off track. That's Stoyanov. Stoyanov's facing the wrong way at the loop. Well, that is interesting. We've spoken a lot about the loop this evening. come on board the red Ferrari of Rickton Brave. Just in front of him we have the BMW Sergeant with a Pink Panther sandwich in the middle. And Rickton Brave just looks to be feathering his throttle a little bit. We'll maybe come back to that one as the race proceeds. Morgan is still running about 6/10 of a second, 2/3 of a second behind Juho Mäkinen. And big action going on back here because Dan Clegg is now lapping. I think that's Stu Rogers, yes it is. And Palmer now thinks about making the move down the inside of Rogers. Great opportunistic move by Harry Palmer, using the car in front to make the move on Stu Rogers. That is an amazing drive and reminiscent of Hakkinen or Schumacher when they were lapping the back markers at Spa. That was amazing to watch. Great driving from Palmer there. That's maybe overtake of the season so far for me. Amazing. So Hacker's still in fourth. He's got Iliev only a couple of tenths behind. And just behind this lot as well is Jay Wazzer. Need to keep an eye as well on Harvey and Dan Naisbitt, 9th and 10th on track. That gap's coming down. That is for first in silver class. And they're now running very close on the track as Harvey's now re-caught up with Grace. That might now be holding him up. Now the driver tracker says half a second. That does not look like half a second to me. I don't know about you guys watching on YouTube here at FRL Race Hub. That looks less than half a second to me, and we've seen the closing speed difference through these corners as he comes now down into Village. Look at the braking distances, and they're so close. There's almost contact at the back. Mäkinen does compromise his entrance a little bit, and that's going to make him a little bit slower on exit. The straight line speed of the McLaren might now prevail. This could be it. This could be time. But on board with Morgan, he pulls out to the inside. Mäkinen did feel the need to defend that time around, and Mäkinen again going all the way out on Luffield, but he's able to keep the car in and gets his foot down, but he's had to lift off. He's went wide. That's going to open the door for Morgan. The question is, which way do you go? Morgan electing not to take the Hamilton line through Copse, and they go side by side through the corner, but he's went wide. He's going to have to concede that position. At least this time he has done. He's tucked back inside the post driver. And they come through Magnus and Beckett. That's a big cut off the corner by Mäkinen. Looks very unstable, but he's kept the car under control somehow. We've got a drive-through penalty for Harry Palmer in the 207, completely nullifying his move on Stu Rogers earlier on. At one point, these two on the last lap were within 1/10 of a second. It's not 1/10 of a second now. Well, maybe actually, they're very close. I'm trying to keep an eye on what's going on throughout the field as well, on the driver tracker on the left and the map on the right, but I cannot take my eyes off this battle for P1. Morgan is not letting this one go. He is adamant. And we've got another drive-through penalty for track limits. That is Sargent in the 777 BMW. He's been driving just in front of Rickden Brave and Dazza Townsend. He's going to drop down. Those guys are going to get themselves another position. Big battle going on behind here. Iliev is on the back of Hacker. Clegg is showing they've got some lapped cars in there as well. That's making it look a lot more dicey. But look at this. Look at this. This is now Dan Naisbitt on the back of Harvey. Apologies, my voice beginning to go a little bit. Dan Naismith moves over to the inside, lets him know he's there. That's not a move Dan Naismith's going to do. I've raced many races with him. He's not going to just aimlessly throw it down the inside of Brooklands. Everything this man does is methodical. And he'll be thinking about overtaking 6 or 7 corners ahead before he actually makes the pass. He's went wide, he's lost the rear. What's happened there? Pushing so hard, he's ended up going wide and probably had to slow massively down. Maybe he's lost the rear on the way in. But for 5 minutes left to go, that might be his charge over. We've got a car not moving at the Maggott and Beckett section. It's 207. Harry Palmer's day has gone from bad to worse to just downright terrible in the Aston Martin. He's all over the shot now. He needs to just compose himself. He's got a 30-second stop-go penalty. Sargent is in the pits just now serving his drive-through. So this is the point where 5 minutes to go. Now the driver's tyres are going off. The grip has gone, and it's now who has saved the tyres, who has been able to save a little bit of life in them, who can control the tyres when they're at their very worst. This is the biggest test of Super Sprint Sunday. Is Morgan still pushing that McLaren through Luffield? I don't think he's got enough. Iliev is now right on the back of Hacker. These three as well. This is for 4th, 5th and 6th place. These guys in a close battle as well. We've got another drive-through penalty being dished out. That's Matthias Dijsbreel in the 85 Lamborghini. Has been given a drive-through penalty for track limit violations. Multiple track limit violations. You get 3 warnings where you cut the track and gain an advantage, and when you get a 4th one, that's when you get your penalty. So that's what's happened to those guys who are getting penalties. The 32nd one will be for a massive track cut. That's what's happened with Palmer. So now only a second, they're side by side. The Hackers feel they need to go defensive, and that might compromise both of them and open the door for the Mountain King. A little bit of a gap now between Morgan and Mackinnon. Maybe Morgan just cooling his jets a little bit. Yellow flags being shown for Palmer in the pits. Maybe he's done. That might be a retirement. This gap is definitely getting smaller as we go. Wazzer now all over the back of the Porsche of Iliev. Jay Wazzer, of course, if you remember correctly, finished on the top 3 last season in the Pro class as well. No slouch. Iliev was racing last year, Hacker was not. It has to be said as well this season that the talent pool has greatly increased. The competition here at FRL has improved massively, and as a credit to all the drivers taking part tonight, give yourself a pat on the back. But we're now entering the final couple of minutes of the race. Mackinnon still leads Morgan after taking him at the start. Clegg is sat in 3rd the entire race. Hacker's gone! Hacker's off track. Hacker's left the track at the Maggott Beckett section. He's rejoined now, but he is now in P6. And Clayton has taken Hacker as well. Grace a little bit way too far back to take advantage of that one. Iliev 4th, Wazzer 5th, Clayton 6th, Hacker 7th. Mäkinen still in first and starts the final lap. My apologies, that is the Hamilton straight, not the start-finish straight. But look at Morgan closing the gap down. He has been absolutely relentless. He has got the bit within his teeth, the determination of the number 5 car. He's almost pushing him through the loop. And these two, I'm pretty sure, are going to keep us entertained all the way through to the last race of the season. But right now, this is the end of round 5. Mäkinen leads Morgan by half a second. Clegg's 12 seconds further back. Such is the difference. It's the electrifying pace of these two at front. Look at the exit speed that Morgan's taken out of Luffield. The gap was 5 tenths. It's now 3 tenths of a second. The final lap of the race starts. And look how close these two are. And this has been the section where Mäkinen's looked to be very unstable. He takes that massive curb, that bump on the inside, and Morgan's almost pushing him along now. The purple and yellow of Morgan is right on his tail end. Look at this, is the closest they've been the entire race. Mäkinen not giving the inside line away, making Morgan, if he's going to go, he's going to go round the long way. They're side by side into Stowe. The Porsche is going to be able to get on the throttle earlier, but struggles for traction. Does he go defensive? He doesn't feel the need to defend into this corner. There could be a mistake. He's left a car's width, exactly a car's width and 1 millimetre, and it's been enough to avoid collision. Great precision driving from the two front runners in the championship. Morgan is not letting this go. We've got just over a sector left. Again, look at the straight line speed, the cornering speed difference through here. Mäkinen is having to go defensive. They're side by side into Village. Again, compromise on exit. Mäkinen just dithers on the apex. It's an age-old move to just delay when you get on the throttle, because you rely on the opponent guessing, and they've not been able to guess correctly. So that looks like a defended position. 2 more corners to go, and what an exciting end to round 5 of FRL Super Sprint Sunday. Mäkinen has kept the position from the start of the race. He pulled away. Mäkinen going to cross the line and take the win with only 3 tenths of a second with Morgan behind. Great driving. Dan Clegg has put in a tremendous effort. He's been very critical of his car, but he's going to take the final podium spot. And there's a huge crash! Oh no, what? Well, that one's absolutely going to the stewards there, because Wazir Clayton Iliev Hacker come through. This car's facing the wrong way. There's huge damage. We're not going to hear the end of that one. Grace comes along the line. Harvey takes the win. Harvey takes the win as Naisbitt lets his feelings and frustrations known to the wall on the start-finish straight. Prentice comes home P11, McCann 12th, Walsh 13th, Luke Prentice P14. It's a podium for Chris Gedman, 3rd in class. Michael Milnix comes home in P4. Paul Trotman comes home 5th in class as well. It's a solid drive from the Lamborghini driver. Rick the Brave is going to lead home Townsend and Richings in 18th, 19th and 20th. Ziliotto is going to come home on the lead lap. Heavily damaged front end, takes 21st. Dylan Volton, again recovering from facing the wrong way at the start of the race, takes 22nd. Good drive, good recovery from them. Sargent is still battering, and that looks like Grafe actually just behind. That's not for position. Sargent's going to come on 23rd after his penalty being served. Stoyanov is still racing and is the last person on track. He's going to come home in P24 with Rogers, Cuters, Grafe, Dybiel. all coming home behind Don Javier as well, finishing the race. Harry Palmer did not finish. Wow. So, a couple of talking points there. Did Mäkinen jump the start? We don't know. That might get reviewed as we go. Huge crashes throughout action. Very close action between Wazzer, Clayton, Iliev and Hacker. Massive crash at the end. That one he'd looked at as well. Harvey takes a win in race 2. Good job from there, and German, of course, finishing on the podium. It's great to see. So that is the end of Formula Racing League Super Sprint Sunday. Thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box this evening. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring these two races to you. We will be back next Sunday from 7:45 PM to bring you round 6 of the championship, the penultimate round. We head to Valencia, same format, 20 minutes, 40-minute races. That will be a fantastic one to watch. Very interesting, one of the newer tracks as well, so maybe a little bit of track learning to go. Not as familiar with that track as we are here at Silverstone. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you next time. Until then, take care. Good night.